Okay, I think I'm now live. Yeah, I just had the most weird experience that I was talking away. I got about 2 minutes into it, and it appeared that I wasn't live. I've never had that. I use this service called StreamYard, and it's normally brilliant. But what I do is I press to go live, and then it plays like an introduction with a little bit of music. It's all fancy and all that sort of stuff. And then I appear and I talk and run the thing. But for some reason, it wasn't live. So I was chatting away, talking to myself. So apologies if I'm a little bit late, but I was here. Okay, so let's try this again, shall we? Let's start again. So I'm here. I'm on LinkedIn Live. Excuse me. I'm on LinkedIn Live, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and I'm also live on my podcast, live on iTunes, Amazon Music, and about 30 other different streams. And I'm here today to talk to you about email marketing, specifically how to grow your email marketing list, which is one of the key performance indicators of email marketing. Before I do that, let me just talk for a minute about email marketing and why I think you should be doing it to start with. There's no point growing your list if you're not going to actually do it, and there's no point doing it if it's not going to work. Let's just quash a few myths about email, if I may. Firstly, people tell me that email is no longer relevant. That people are using other means of communication. And I can tell you that that is just a load of BS, basically. It is not true. The email marketing is still the number one way that you can communicate with your customers and prospects. Tell me another way that you can go, right, I've got 500 customers here and I want to send them a marketing message. I want to provide them with some information. I want to tell them about an event that I'm running that is going to actually land, okay, yeah, I could do it on LinkedIn and I could pay for it through, some advertising and so on and so forth. But, for me, email marketing is still alive and kicking and brilliant. And I cannot see a reason why anybody in business should not be doing email marketing. I've said it. That's what I think. That's honestly what I think. And now the only reason possible is actually I don't have a list. If you haven't got anybody to email, then that's a potential problem. And I'm going to give you, I'm not sure how many. I'm going to keep going for about 15 minutes and give you as many ways as I can to help you to grow your list via email. This is not scripted. This is just me based on my 28 years of experience helping businesses just like yours to become more successful using my results mastery program, which you can find out about, by the way, on steve-mills.com. So, email marketing lists. Well, number one, and this is by no means the number one priority. In fact, I'd say this is like way down the priority, but it is the quickest way of doing it. And that is you can buy a list. Obviously you've got the GDPR thing to take into consideration, which means things like you don't want to buy lists of personal emails. Because if you email me at steve.mills.gmail or Hotmail or something like that, and I've not opted into your email marketing, then potentially you could get in trouble for doing that. However, if you email me at my company email, that doesn't apply. And a lot of people don't realize that. And just, for accuracy's sake and for timing's sake, do go and confirm that with, somebody that knows more about the law than I do. That's not legal advice, okay? But it's my understanding of the situation. If it's a professional email, it's not part of It's not part of GDPR. If it's a private email, then it is. So think about that and what you're doing there. So yeah, so if that's the case, think about going and buying a list. When you buy a list, make sure you're very, very clear on what you're buying, that you're very focused in terms of the target market. So I want a list of managing directors of law firms in London who employ at least 50 people, who are, I don't know, in corporate law. Okay, so the more specific I can be, the more or better quality that list would be. So you could do that. If you do go down that route, by the way, make sure that you wash your email list. I always recommend something called zero bounce. Basically, it works really well. You take your list of 1,000 names, you stick it into zero bounce, you pay them just a few pounds, not very much money, and they do a check on each of the emails, and you'll find that 200 of them would bounce, because that's fairly typical when you're buying lists. Even though the list providers will tell you it's been recently checked, you'll still get a load of bounces. And just get rid of the bounces. You don't want to be sending out emails that bounce. That's absolutely a really important thing. So that said, I just want to get that out of the way. As I say, it's not my recommendation really. It's just an option. It's a way of going from 0 to 1,000 emails fairly quickly, but as I say, not necessarily the best way of doing it. How else can you do it then? Well, you can do it via maybe LinkedIn or Facebook or other social media. You can ask people to opt into your emails. Let's assume that you've got a form on your website, like a newsletter or something like that, and you can try to get people to upload there. You could certainly, if anybody's got an opt-in email that is a business email, you could upload them in there. But I always think it's better to ask people and get their permission, just so you don't upset anybody. Because remember, what you want to be doing is emailing people who are interested. This is not about bragging rights. Aren't I popular? I've got an email database of 50,000 people. Having said that, nobody's ever opening my emails, and I get loads of people unsubscribe and loads of bounces and so on. That's not where we want to be. What we want to be doing is getting good open rates, of people who are interested. And if they're not interested, I actually get them to unsubscribe. I actually ask my list probably once every 6 months, saying, look, I on my system, the system that I use, I can identify who's looked at things. And if I've got a load of people that have not looked, let's say my database is, I think it's just below 3,000 people. And I've kept it used to be up around 20,000, and I've got rid of people, which is a good thing, because we don't want to be emailing people who are not interested. So I'm now down to 3,000 people. I get like 60, 70, 80% open rates. When you think that the average in the world is about a 15% open rate, you see what I've done. So, I definitely recommend that for you. Get rid of people who are not interested. So if somebody's not opened an email for 6 months, I add them to a sequence of, I think it's 4 emails, and it says something like, if you're not interested, I noticed that you've not opened any of my emails for 6 months. If you're not interested, would you please unsubscribe? Try and get rid of them. Then a few days later, I send them another email saying, did you get my email a few days ago about unsubscribing? I know you've not looked at my emails for 6 months. If you don't want to receive them, please unsubscribe. And I think it's actually 3 emails that they get. And the third one says, it's been a week. I've sent you a couple of emails. You've not unsubscribed. So I'm going to take it that you want to stay with me. If you don't, then please unsubscribe. So you get 3 chances to, get rid of them. And I do get rid of people, and that's good. That's good for them because they don't want to read my stuff. And it's good for me because I'm not sending emails out to people who are not interested. So that, I think, is a really important piece of advice. So where else can you get people then? We've said LinkedIn is definitely one. Your website is definitely another. And I actually believe you should give people the opportunity to sign up all over the place, not just on your homepage or something like that. If somebody reads one of your blogs, you might say, oh, and by the way, if you want to sign up to my email system with even more tips, go here. And you have a form and people sign up and it links to your CRM and email marketing system and so on and so forth. You could definitely do it on advertising. You could go and get people, you could advertise on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Google, and so on and so forth, saying, would you like to access my daily sales and marketing tips? If you would, click here. And just use that to drive traffic and get more people. Who's going to sign up? People interested in sales and marketing or whatever it is that you do. So you could do that. Great idea to go to networking events. I stand up and I say, hi, my name's Steve Mills. What I do is I help businesses who are looking to grow. Some of them don't have time to do their own marketing. Others don't understand modern digital marketing methods, and a few basically have not done any marketing and have relied on a bit of networking and referrals. I don't know whether that rings any bells with you, but if it does, please get in touch. By the way, if you'd like me to subscribe you to my email system so you can get tips and ideas on how to grow your business, just come to me at the end and give me your business card, and I'll be very happy to do so. And I've just told 50 people, and 10 of them give me the card and ask me to be added to that system. So it's like multiple ways, and it's just constantly nurturing, increasing, growing, and developing that database. What else can I tell you? I think. So we've covered advertising, we've covered social media. Okay, I'm going to delve into social media a little bit and talk to you about groups on LinkedIn. I actually did a LinkedIn Live event the other day on groups, but let me talk to you specifically about that. So if you're in groups on LinkedIn or Facebook or wherever your groups are, that would normally give you access to all the members of the group. So it's a good intro to say, hi, my name's Steve Mills. We're both members of the XYZ group. Thought I'd just drop you a quick line to see if you'd be interested in getting my daily marketing tips. If you would, click here and sign up. Thanks very much in anticipation. And there we go. That's that. The same would apply on WhatsApp. I'm in some quite big groups on WhatsApp now. I think one of them's got like 100,000 members. So I can go onto that group. I can just, add a message saying, why don't you sign up to my list? And that's great. Another way would be this. Yeah, why aren't you doing LinkedIn Lives? I sometimes, at the top end, I think the most I've got is about 150 people. At the bottom end, I tend to get about 10, something like that. But often, because I'm doing this every day, I'm getting probably an average of about 20 people a day. So 20 people a day, that's 100 people a week, that's 400 people onto my email list every month. 400 in a year, that's whatever that is, 4,800 people in a year by doing just this. And that's just from LinkedIn. They're just the people on LinkedIn. I'm also getting people on YouTube, people on Facebook, people on iTunes, people on Apple Music, and all the other 30 streaming sites that I'm on. So I'm getting this message now out to somewhere between 7,000 and 8,000 people every time I do this. And here's an invite. Why don't you sign up to my email newsletter? If you're not already on it, guess where you go? It's to my website, steve-mills.com. You'll find a form on the site, and you can sign up to my email newsletter. You know, I've just told nearly, let's be optimistic and say it's 8,000 people. How many of those will sign up? Probably only 1% of them. Might be a few more, I don't know. But, you know, whatever it is, that's going to be another 30, 40, 50, 100 people, you know, and that's the way it works. So there's some great ideas there, I think, that could really help you to grow your list. And by the way, you know, I would suggest it all starts by thinking about things like, who do you know that is not on your list that really ought to be on your list? You know, if your target market is accountants, you know, do you know any accountants that you know that you really should be on that list? You know, have you got customers that should be on the list that are not on the list? Because if they're not, they should be. You know, you should be able to communicate with them. One final thing just before I go, and this is an important one: the segmentation of the list. You know, you don't really want to be just sending out, you know, having one list that everybody gets everything that you send. You want to be able to segment this list and group it. So I might want to send an email out just to my clients, or I might send, I've got a list. If I think about my list, I've got a client list, I've got a results mastery members list. That's for my people who are on my 12-month program. I've got a Results Mastery University list. That's for people who are on the ongoing training program, where I provide over it's something just short of 300 videos for people to train themselves in. I've got a list called associations. So they're things like, you know, the association of whatever. And I've got a list of chambers of commerce. I've got a list of accountants, a list of solicitors, a list of coaches, a list of consultants, so that when I want to email those specifically, I've got a PR list, newspapers, magazines. I've got another radio list. Often like to try and get myself on the radio, get some publicity. We all know our biggest problem in small businesses is obscurity, not being known by enough people. So, you know, what I've just told you there, I think, is gold dust. I really do. You know, that is so important to be able to do. And then the last thing, very last thing I'm going to tell you is, however often you're emailing, do it more, particularly if you're into the mindset of, you know, oh, I don't want to bombard people. You know, I hear this all the time, and it's one of the biggest mistakes that people make on social media and certainly on email marketing. Sending out a quarterly newsletter ain't going to win you a great deal of business. That's a fact. Sending out a monthly one probably won't do much better. My advice would be at least once a fortnight, if not once a week. But don't go from quarterly newsletter to 3 times a day, yeah, because you're going to get a load of unsubscribes. Okay, so you might want to build it up over time. You know, well, one final thing as well is, when you're doing this, make sure you add a load of value. Not just going, do you want to buy this? Do you want to buy that? Do you want to buy something else? No, 80-20 rule. 80% of the time, you're going to be demonstrating your expertise, adding value, building, you know, your list, you know, really helping people, demonstrating your expertise. And then the remaining 20%, you go and try and sell them stuff. Okay, so that's it. Thank you ever so much. Don't forget to tune in. I was nearly said tomorrow, but it's Friday today, so don't tune in tomorrow. I won't be here. But tune in on Monday. I do this Monday to Friday. Really part of my commitment to try and help small businesses to market themselves more effectively. If you need any help from me, if you want to book a free meeting, use the link below and get yourself booked in. Go to steve-mills.com, click on one of the orange buttons. That gives you access to my diary. Pick a time that's good for you and we'll be good to go. Thanks very much for listening.